You've all heard the debates, an elite QB or a punt build with 3 late QBs, an elite tight end or a punt build with 3 late tight ends. What if you didn't have to choose though? What if the answer was, why not both? In today's draft with Ron Stewart, his favorite structure in current Underdog drafts and his favorite galaxy brain idea lead us down a path in a Best Ball Mania draft that I have not attempted yet this year. And I don't think I've seen anyone attempt. I think you're going to like it. This is the Deposit Kingdom. I'm Pete Overzet, joined by Ron Stewart for his perfect draft. Let's do it. The young gun, Ron Stewart from the Ron Stewart YouTube channel, the man in the basement, slinging the pizzas, slinging the fantasy takes. And today he's going to tell us his favorite structure, his favorite players, his favorite targets, his favorite galaxy brain ideas, all of that good stuff within the world of Underdog fantasy. Ron Stewart, hot best ball summer, Deposit Kingdom. How we doing?
Doing great. Excited to talk through some galaxy brain takes. I know that I've been thinking about just kind of, this has been a weird year in general, just for fantasy. With wide receivers going as early as ever, I'm excited to just kind of talk through where we're at and just do a little bit of a meeting of the minds here for strategy. Because I kind of think through a lot of player takes more than strategy these days.
Yeah, I think we'll be a good meld in that regard, because I'm generally a little bit more on the inverse, play things from a portfolio perspective. So I love it when we get some good player takes in here. Let's start though off the rip with a non-player take. I want to know your favorite structure when Ron Stewart is sitting in a draft. What feels cozy? What feels right in 2024 drafts?
Well, I think the thing that gives me the most likes on Twitter and just the prettiest lineup, it's not necessarily like a structure when you think through hyperfragile, when you think through hero RB, but it's one quarterback, one running back, 3 wide receivers, and 1 tight end through 6 rounds. It just feels cozy. You have your running back, you have 3 wide receivers. I know we want 4 wide receivers through 7. You can still get that. You have elite onesies. And it's an interesting spot this year where you don't have to pay up for the elite onesies. I mean, you have to pay up a little bit, but getting your elite quarterback in round 4, 5, 6, getting your elite tight end as late as like George Kittle or Kyle Pitts, it all kind of fits into the structure of just having this like very well-balanced team, and you can kind of mold it from there.
Do you find yourself with those elite onesies? Are you trying to prioritize the stacks, because you can pull those off? Obviously, Andrews and Lamar, Kelsey and Mahomes, even Kincaid and Allen. If you can get it lined up right, is that something you're prioritizing, or are you just kind of mixing and matching those?
I would say that is like most preferred. If I could do a Mahomes, Kelsey, Lamar, Andrews, like you said, Allen, Kincaid, any of those, like linking up the onesies is great, even if it's just a Lamar to Flowers with like a Diggs bring back. All of that works in there as well. I will say definitely for the onesies, like the quarterback, if I'm taking one early, I would like it somewhat correlated. But those are the best when you can do 1-1, 3-1, and you get the Lamar Andrews or you get the Mahomes, Kelsey to happen. That's when it just feels the coziest.
So the question I would ask is, if I am taking essentially those 3 detours early, quarterback, running back, and tight end, and are you often taking a wide receiver in round 7? Have you found yourself getting a lot of exposure to some of those guys on the fringe, or that kind of last gasp of that wide receiver tier?
Yeah, I would say in that build, I'm almost always trying to get before the like Sutton Lockett area. I'm looking at like JSN, Deontay Johnson. I want to say Christian Watson's in that tier as well. So you can get them as like your flex piece, and you can still fill out some of those picks where I still do even like later on your Dontavion Wicks, just guys in that range too. Like I don't even hate Jerry Jeudy, so you can kind of start to add to them. It's not the most like wide receiver heavy build, but you can go 3 straight wide receivers and still run it. And I will say too, before I thought like this has been something that I've been doing this offseason. I was like, I don't know if this is really optimal, especially in like years past. If you like take early quarter, like you can't have it all. But I was looking at it and it has positive advance rates in every round since like 2021. Where you take like your RB1 before round 7, your QB1 before round 7, and so on. So it's been something I've been sort of mixing in a little bit more, and it's been kind of the coziest start for me, even with kind of almost like forcing yourself to take those detours, but they are more natural. Like I'm not forcing it, if that makes sense.
The benefit of that is if you can hit on the later wide receivers and kind of unlock that, you enter into the pod dynamics of being able to have a quarterback who can drop 40, having a tight end who can drop 25 plus, and then single-handedly win you one of those pods. And then on top of that, like, you'll probably be going against a lot of wide receiver heavy teams that have punted it off at a quarterback or tight end who maybe didn't get those detours. So that's where it's really interesting. I think it's more of a tightrope walk if you can pull it off, but when you do, you create a super team.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I would put it, is if you can get, if you get the Lamar to Andrews thing to fall, and you somehow a wide receiver fell to you, and you can get this team that looks really pretty through 6 rounds. It is about landing the plane, but the beauty of it as well is that it's tough when we talk through like what's your favorite structure, because you can go 2-6-8-2 if you take your RB1 in like round 6. You could go 2-4-10-2 where if you take like a running back in round 1 and you want to get really funky, 2-5-9-2, and you can kind of just like mix and match all of the hero RB, zero RB stuff depending on what you spent on that one running back. So there's a lot of flexibility, but you can kind of make the detours early so that you have this like super team where you're set at every position, you have the correlation, you can kind of build from there.
Favorite player target? This can either be just kind of in your dream scenario, or maybe your exposures back this up.
This is my most drafted player right now. And I do want to say this. I know Pete knows that I fancy myself a dynasty guy. I have like 15 dynasty teams. I only have him on one team, but it's Roma Dunze. I'm taking him a lot in seasonal drafts right now. 26.3% drafted, my highest drafted player. That's honestly not that high compared to other people's exposures, but I do love Roma Dunze, where we have this environment right now. Something that I want to dig into this offseason is rookie wide receivers. The secret is out. And when we're making bets on rookies, it's almost always on talent, right? We're hoping that they're efficient early on. They build in the route. Something that I want to say Jack Miller pointed out maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, of like this idea that rookie wide receivers, they really pop off towards the end of the year. When you're giving me a top 10 pick wide receiver 3 rounds after Malik Neighbors, and like even after a guy like Xavier Worthy, who is on a great offense, but in terms of as a prospect, Roma Dunze clears him. I'm taking him a lot in the 6th round.
Favorite stack? I am curious if this dovetails with your overall macro strategy. What do you like dialing up from a stack perspective?
Yeah, it does definitely coincide with the 1-1-3-1, where I've been loving Mahomes. Is maybe a guy I want to draft more often. He was a smash when we did this in 2022, where he has like one down year. He gets drafted as like the QB4, the QB5, like the 4th or 5th rounder. Right now, he's actually in the 5th round, and he just absolutely smashes. He's someone just as a, like in terms of, you just look active players, and the way that I almost think through it with Mahomes, because it's not so much just Mahomes, but it's Mahomes and some pieces, preferably Kelsey, if you can get the luck of getting Kelsey, but even just any Chiefs with Mahomes, it's really a Mahomes bet, where if you told a casual on the street, like, didn't play fantasy football, and you said, you can get the best player in football, you don't have to take him in the 1st round, and you don't have to take him as the first quarterback off the board. I know that we have certain scoring settings. I know that there's all of that in play, but it is pretty bizarre to be like the best player in quarterback. The best player in the league you can get in round 5. And in a world right now, I'm a Jets fan, but we're taking 2 Jets in the 1st round. You can take 2 Chiefs in the 4th round.
I love it too, from the perspective of, I think there's question marks about every single one of those top 4 Chiefs pass catchers, right? There's the age cliff concerns from Travis Kelce. What if they don't utilize him in the regular season? Hollywood Brown is in a new environment. We really don't know how that is going to look. He kind of tailed off a little bit in Arizona. Xavier Worthy, complete mystery box rookie, super wide range of outcomes. Rashee Rice, we don't even know when he's going to play, how long he's going to be suspended. So with all that uncertainty, it seems likely like it goes south for a couple of those guys, and a couple of them are just massive smashes because of all the opportunity there. So when you double stack Mahomes, you mix and match that, and you play out these scenarios of like, what if Worthy is a bust and Brown doesn't work out? Boom, Kelsey and Rice. Those are the guys. Kelsey falls off the age cliff. Rice gets suspended for 10 games. Boom, Hollywood and Xavier Worthy are now huge parts of the offense. Like, I love the idea of mixing and matching and taking advantage of that wide range of outcomes.
This offense could just be the best in football, and we could see another MVP Mahomes year. And I just think we're probably overreacting to the uncertainty and just what we saw last year in general.
Let's talk about your favorite galaxy brain idea. We've had some fun ones thrown out on the show: handcuffing running backs, bully tight end. What do you like doing from a gal brain perspective?
Wide receivers are pushed up all the way this year. I do love the idea of crafting together like traditional hyperfragile teams and then also non-traditional. In years past, we'd have running backs in rounds 3-4 that are now hanging out in rounds 6-7. If you can go running back early, 2 running backs at 6-7, still get your wide receiver firepower, and then get like 1 more running back on top, you can make this kind of like pseudo-hyperfragile team that you didn't have to spend running back, 3 picks in the top 6 rounds on, and still get an edge at running back on the rest of the teams. Just hoping that, 2 or 3 of them end up being like top 6 running backs. And then you also still have the wide receivers early to compete with everybody else.
Final question here as we hop in a draft. Favorite late round dart? Who's someone you like going to in the 18th round?
He is currently, and now I will say this is not by design. He is my most drafted 18th round pick by a lot. Wow. He is on 12% of my teams, and it's Dawson Knox. It's partially because I've been drafting so much Josh Allen in the 4th round. I just think that he's a smash regardless. But if there was some guy on the Bills where we have no wide receivers, right, and all of them are small too, like it's Curtis Samuel, it's Khalil Shakir, it's MVS. Dawson Knox also, by the way, has like one of the bigger contracts in the NFL for tight ends, and he's still around. I think that he's still guaranteed another 2 or 3 years there. They love him there. I know that they donated to some charity, that he had something going on with his family. He's going to score touchdowns.
Love it. I've not taken a lot of Dawson Knox, but maybe today is the day, because one thing, I don't know if Ron has seen me do this structured show with Kyle Dvorak and Chess Liam, but the goal now, Ron, is to try to execute all of these preferences, all of your favorite things in a single draft. And I think the toughest one to pull off here is going to be the 4 running backs with the 1-1-3-1 start. But I say we give it a whirl, see what we can come up with.
Yeah, we'll put on our Galaxy Brain hats. Maybe we'll even put a little Dawson Knox cherry on top.
I do like when I'm doing these, semi-challenge drafts, having a middle slot is nice. You don't feel like you have to reach as much. It's like, you know what? Either Kelsey falls to us in the 4th and then Mahomes comes back around. Great. If not, we're not going to force it to build a suboptimal team. But this will be an interesting decision here. At 1-7, this draft has started fairly chalky. I'm going to assume Amon-Ra goes. Do we get our anchor RB here, which would also make getting to a 4 running back build potentially even easier?
I think that's what we do. If he goes Amon-Ra St. Brown, I say we go Bric. Yeah, let's go Bric. We get, I just like Bric better than Bijan. You can talk me into either, but, we get the elite QB if we want to go Allen later.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I think I've been taking Bijan ahead, just kind of factoring that in a bit, making sure I'm not too lopsided there, but have zero issue with Bric. And then kind of thinking through this, I mean, this 2nd round pick is almost for sure a wide receiver for us.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, because we're trying to do the 1-1-3-1. We would, in a perfect world, like Mahomes.
Yep.
And then we also need to stop at 4 running backs.
I'm trying to thread the needle between I want Ron Stewart's perfect draft, but I don't want to do something for the gimmick that then makes this a bad team. So we're not going to make any poor decisions, but I do think it's fun to try to attempt the perfect draft, so to speak. Who has been your favorite kind of round 2 wide receiver? Because we have this long tier of guys where if someone wanted to pound the table for one over the other, I wouldn't fight about it. That's kind of where I'm at with this wall of names here.
I know in half PPR, Saquon Barkley projects better than all of these guys. Man, we almost got a Gibbs to fall there. But yeah, I guess I think I go Nico. You open yourself up to some of the Baltimore, Houston fun stuff. And I do think that he is a good wide receiver. And if you remember, like in the big board and stuff, he was a 1-2 turn guy until the Stephon Diggs signing.
Yeah. The other thing, as far as our, 1 elite running back, 1 elite quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 1 elite tight end, it does line up well. If we miss out on the Kelsey Mahomes, CJ Stroud's ADP is 66. And that's exactly where we would be picking in the 6th. It's fun because sometimes you're doing these drafts and I'm looking for tiebreakers, right? Do I have correlation with my round 1 pick? Okay, that could be a tiebreaker. Do I have an ADP value? That could be a tiebreaker. Do I want to make a portfolio tiebreaker? Like I have way too much of this guy. In our case, it was, what are some outs to being able to get that elite QB as well? All right, we got Breece Hall. We got Nico Collins. Our goal is 1 elite running back, 3 wide receivers, an elite tight end, an elite quarterback through 6. This seems like it should likely be another wide receiver for us to be able to kind of pull this off.
Yep. I could be talked into Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, it would basically be Cup or if you wanted to try to set up the double stack with Tank and kind of take out the competition on this side of the board for Stroud. That would be the only other consideration.
I think I'll go. Let's go Cup. Why not?
Let's
gives
do
us
it.
A little bit to Bric in week 16 there, and then it gives us some other flexibility, I suppose, later on. And honestly, I haven't been taking a lot of Cup, but it seems like he's getting steamed right now, so I don't hate a little bit of a cheaper Cup there.
I did my Best Ball Breakfast stream on my YouTube channel, the live stream channel, on Monday with Sean Siegel, and we were kind of talking about Cooper Kupp through the lens of like, I think this ADP is kind of middling the two outcomes where Puka fully takes over, Cooper Kupp's injured, falls off the age clip, whatever have you, or he's just like a smash like he was back to his old ways. To me, I do feel like it's going to be one or two of those outcomes, and this third round ADP is going to look silly in one direction.
Yeah.
All right, this is our sweat here. Kelsey does go, so that is off the table here. Who I am curious with your definition of elite quarterback through 6 rounds, is it all of them within that ADP bubble? Are there any guys? Is it after CJ Stroud for you? Is that kind of the last one?
It's after Stroud, but you could definitely talk me into the idea of, I would say in terms of the 1-3-1 idea, I think quarterback is probably the least important, if that makes sense, because I do think like Kyler, Dak, like those are all fine options, where after Kittle, oh my God, a 4th round Matthew Stafford.
Is this the star method? Oh no.
It might be. Wow. No, it probably is. That's a late night star method.
Man, username, you're in danger. You certainly are, brother. You certainly are. All right, let's regroup here. We have our Breece Hall, Nico Collins, Cooper Kupp. We were hoping we were able to select Travis Kelce to set up that Mahomes stack. Do we push elite tight end, or do you take the plunge on a McBride or Kincaid here? McBride does give us week 17 correlation with Kupp.
Do you think there's any chance that we go Allen and we get Kincaid to come back, or no? That would be us taking a real gamble there.
I think it's like sub 25%, but I think it's in play. You want to?
I think we should try.
Let's do it.
We'll try it. Yeah.
To me, for giving this a shot, right? We already have this week 17 game with Breece Hall and Josh Allen. We're getting Josh Allen a little bit past ADP. If we miss out on Kincaid, obviously we missed that kind of clean stack, but there's still elite tight ends there, and there's still potential stacking partners, plenty for Josh down the stretch. So I kind of like it. I think it's a fun way to try. All right, man. I assume. Wow. We're gonna get one of McBride or Kincaid. Wow, this broke nice, Ron. Broke real nice.
Sometimes you gotta push it.
I love that suggestion, and we're getting correlation with either. Obviously, the Kincaid correlation is more powerful, but like McBride at 5.7 correlated is a pretty nice consolation prize.
Oh yeah. All right, and he takes McBride anyways. Perfect.
Look at this. So we are now perfectly on track for our goal, which is 1 elite quarterback, boom, Josh Allen. 1 bell cow running back, boom, Breece Hall. 3 running backs. We're at 2 right now, Nico Collins and Cooper Kupp. And then our elite tight end, Dalton Kincaid. And we talked about the stack. We're going to sidestep it. We didn't get the Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice. Although, if we got sniped there, if both of those guys weren't there, we could have set up the Mahomes, Rashee Rice probably as a 5th and 6th. Oh, wait. Now that introduces an entirely new wrinkle. Would we do a Josh Allen, Kincaid, and Knox?
I don't think so. I mean, you could certainly talk me into it. Galaxy Brain Pete here.
I think what I would probably want to do is do a 3 tight end build and have the last 2 picks be the tight ends. One Knox, and then whatever you're getting, like a Gesicki or whoever.
I mean, we're gonna have roster spots to play around with if we cut it at 4 running backs.
Oh no, Roma Dunze went too. All of our favorite targets are getting blown up. Should we get Rashee Rice as part of the?
Let's go Rice then.
All right, good. We can at least get some of the stack here.
A little Phantom Chief stack. That's what you should just call one-offs now. They're just Phantom stacks.
Phantom. Where are you at on like Christian Watson, the other wide receiver in this range?
Those would be the two guys I'm hoping fall to us.
Yeah.
JSN and Christian Watson, I like a ton. I'm kind of buying into the asymmetrical hamstring stuff with Watson. I don't know if you've read into that.
Yeah, how he fixed like that part of his injury history or whatever.
Yeah, he had 20% more muscle mass in his like right leg, and now it's down to like 8% more. So I'm bought in. It's gonna be a good offense. I'm cool with either of those picks there.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. There's no correlation tiebreakers. Both have the same bye week. Both have quarterbacks still available on the board. Both available. I have way more JSN, so I have no problem taking Watson or just clicking the guy I always click. This is your draft. Who are we clicking?
Let's do Christian Watson. Why not? Yeah. Monster spike week potential, even if he doesn't hit, could just give you 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in a week. But he's interesting. I was looking like he's going to be a player I talk about in a video I have coming out tomorrow, where the routes where he was out there on the field with Dobbs and Reed, he dominated them. And then also he over the last 2 years has the highest end zone target share. Like for whatever reason, he is like this red zone target downfield guy. And I have a hard time believing it. It just feels like because of the hamstring, he wasn't on the same page with Jordan Love last year. But I mean, we know Love is good. He passed for 30 touchdowns. LaFleur always has a good offense. So you get them another year. You buy into the hamstring stuff a little bit. You're getting a discount because of the hamstring stuff anyways on a good offense with a good quarterback. I'm a fan.
We're about to pick at 8-6. We have accomplished our initiative of the 1-1-3-1. We got our 4th wide receiver through 7 rounds here. Brock Bowers comes off the board. We're looking at Aaron Jones.
I love
Jonathan
Aaron Jones
Brooks.
here.
Yeah.
Green
Aaron
Bay
Jones,
correlation. Perfect.
Yeah. The Green Bay opposite. No other Chicago or Seattle, but I think the ADP value and the correlation there is a pretty nice pick.
Yeah, and I think if we're being conscious about the 4 running backs thing, I do kind of think best case scenario would be double tap 8-9. It does depend on who comes back to us, but if it's like a running back that goes in this area, through trying to think of like who's in it, but it'd be like Raheem Mostert is probably like the end of that. I guess Zach Moss is in there if that's your cup of tea.
You're right. Yeah, I think it's
because I'm thinking, once it's Singletary, I hate it. I'm gonna be honest. Your ranks have Singletary pushed up.
Yeah, so I have some aggregated ranks in here. What I'm thinking about if we pull off the 4 running back build is I want the profile to be someone I feel good about the touches. So Brian Robinson would certainly be in play for me. Javonte would be in play for me. Pollard would be in play for me. I don't mind Singletary being a part of it, but I understand it's not near as sexy.
Yeah, it's not super sexy. Are you out on Zach Moss? I haven't
I
drafted
like
him
Zach
much.
Moss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If he gets to us, he'll be good value.
He would. I doubt he does. He doesn't seem to fall a ton. My 180 on Zach Moss kind of came from like a portfolio perspective, and I had so much Chase Brown, and I'm like, I think a running back in this backfield is going to absolutely smash. I don't want to be overconfident on which one it is. I'm going to start taking a ton of both.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna take a ton of Zach Moss, but I'll take. I'll definitely get my 4% security blanket for Zach Moss at the very least.
I do think the best pick on the board is likely going to be a running back, unless you feel strongly about Curtis Samuel, because he is an ADP value and stacked.
He'll be tough to turn down.
I agree.
I guess I'm curious where you're at on that. Can we push this 3rd running back to round 10?
I definitely think we can. He goes.
Okay. I think my pick would be, it would be Brian Robinson. I know you mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
I think he's like perfect for this build.
Yeah, I mean, literally the only thought would be, I don't think we can get both Pollard and Robinson, even if we do Pollard first. And I think I would rather lock up Brian Robinson.
I like that. Those are 3 guys that you can project. Of course, Bric is like no doubt, but like Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, very easy projections. It's just a matter of health, which is just kind of any running back.
Look at this. You got spooked by Devin Singletary, and then he falls here. We could also do Khalil Shakur if we wanted to get the double stack. I have no problem with that.
You think we can push the RB4 a little bit because I don't mind the Shakur thing.
I think we can.
I think we can too. Yeah, like Ford and those guys will be all right. Yeah, let's do it.
And to me, like we're talking about how we generally want to be avoiding this wide receiver tier, and I do, but it's like, when do you make exception correlated with your quarterback and add an ADP value? And that's what we were able to line up. We almost got it with Curtis. We get it here with Shakir, 5 picks past ADP, get that double stack. I like this being the spot to get your exposure to him.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what it should be. Like if you're going to go wide receiver there, it needs to be correlated, or it needs to be 10 picks past ADP, which would have been Curtis Samuel, and then now is Khalil Shakir. But Curtis Samuel had both of those aspects.
I think this could certainly be a wide receiver pick here as Ford and Goddard come off. But man, Chase Brown past ADP, like I don't mind that as like the high upside clackety clack, but you're also talking to a guy who clicks Chase Brown in every draft. So I'm not really rational about this.
I think I'd be fine with Chase Brown. Because this is still, I know, like pushing it a little bit, but this is still a spot where I'm not dying to take any of these receivers. I know that we don't really have the luxury, right? We only have 5 at this point, but yeah, I think Brown is the pick for me because I still do love like Polk, Leggett, all those guys.
This lines up really well. We have Mike Dubb, huge faller, Leggett, and Polk. I think all 3 of these guys are interesting to me to varying degrees.
Yeah, I think I did say earlier that I don't even like Mike Williams, but 18 picks past ADP with correlation to Allen, I have a hard time saying no to that. Yeah, I think my vote would be Williams, unless if you feel strongly.
No, I normally, I've just never pressed with this decision, but at pick 138, and it's not even just our Allen stuff. He's correlated with Cooper Kupp in week 16 too, and Bric. This also gives us the path to, we could do like a 3 quarterback build, even where it's like Rodgers and then tack on a really cheap guy. I don't think we pass on the Williams value there. We take him. Man, Leggett falling to 151.
That would have been so nice.
Musgrave is kind of interesting here to kind of get that second Green Bay stack without the quarterback. Is there anything else you're seeing?
No, I'm cool with that.
That's kind of a move I like doing, right? Like, we know we're going to get a second quarterback. Love's not there, but we want to keep building out these stacks. And I think Musgrave and Watson are a nice little mini stack there. So one thing about Rodgers, the Garrett Wilson drafter is behind us. And so I say we try to push Rodgers, especially with the bye, to 175. Is there another one of these wide receivers you'd want to set up? DeMario, Wandell?
I love DeMario Douglas.
Let's do it. Another ADP value gives us another out to a week 17 stack. Also as a week 16 Bric back against our Buffalo stuff. I think that's a nice pick for us. I think we have a luxury pick here. This could even be a 9 wide receiver and still do 3 quarterbacks. So I really think we've made such a big bet on the Jets. I don't mind taking Rodgers here and then getting a 3rd quarterback.
All right. I'm down.
Is there anyone else you would float here?
It would be Corley, but that's just another Jets bet.
Yeah. Let's do Rodgers, just because I think if we do Corley, I don't think Rodgers is going to get past the Garrett Wilson drafter twice. You picked the only 18th round pick that it was almost impossible to justify in like one scenario, where it's like, if it's any random running back or wide receiver, like it's just like, whatever, just take him. But knocks out a Kincaid team does not feel good. If we pull off I think the 1-1-3-1 with the 4 running backs is very hard to pull off.
Oh, and we're getting close. Now it is highlighting Braylon Allen, it's highlighting Conklin. Could do the May thing if you want to just kind of get that 3rd quarterback and get out of there. I'm curious where you lean here.
I kind of think we go Conklin.
I'm cool with that. We go Conklin and we push May.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't even have to be May. We have other. Do we have other options? McCarthy's one.
So it's so funny that we did this draft, because I remember having kind of this epiphany a while. I think it was when Osmo initially did some work. He did some simming on, it was like BBM3. It was a couple years ago, and about how the 3 quarterbacks could be optimal with just how these pod dynamics work and having unique stacks. And then the counter to kind of the 2 quarterback, 2 tight end builds is you get an elite, they give you that single week spike. But then sometimes what happens is the ownership really condenses around those guys. Like Mark Andrews goes off in BBM3, he's 60% rostered in the finals. And so to me, I always thought like the holy grail would be 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, but you also have an elite in there. But it's like, what are the teams or the builds where you could actually justify that and actually spend the capital correctly? And it would have to be like a hyper fragile build. And we are headed down this path of getting that, which is the rare elite onesies and the triple onesie build, which is, it's hard to pull off in a smart way, but I think we're doing it. If I could just draw this up in a perfect world, I don't think it's possible, but like getting Drake May and Javon Baker, I think would be my dream.
Yeah.
But I think we probably just need to lock up Drake May, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because if we went Baker and we missed on May, I don't think we have anything.
Yeah, and I think we can.
You do have JJ McCarthy if you're confident we can get one of the two. I mean, JJ McCarthy would work with Jones and our Green Bay stuff.
Yeah. I think, is Chark still available? I think we go May. And Chark's still available if we want like a bring back on the Chargers. I also love Devontae Walker as like one of my favorite clicks if we wanted to go a little less correlated. He does correlate with Nico, our 2nd round pick in week 17 too. So that he goes.
Oh, there he goes. All right, yeah.
You want to plant your flag on Brendan Rice here? I don't mind.
Let's do it. We'll get Brendan Rice. He'll be this year's Puka. And then we're gonna win. What is it, like $2 million up top?
1.5. You'll get your 750,000. It'll be fine. I'm gonna recap this team, and then I want to get your thoughts. A super interesting build. So many rare things about this. A 3-4-8-3. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Drake May. 4 running backs: Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Chase Brown. Wide receivers: Nico Collins, Cooper Kupp, Rashee Rice, Christian Watson, Khalil Shakur, Mike Williams, Demario Douglas, and Brendan Rice. Tight ends: Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrave, and Tyler Conklin. So to recap Ron's wish list: favorite structure, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end through 6. Check. Nailed that. Favorite player target: Rome Odunze. We were sniped, not meant to be. Favorite stack: Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Was not meant to be, but we substituted Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid, which seems like a perfectly viable swap. Favorite Galaxy Brain idea: 4 running back build. We did pull it off. Favorite 18th round dart: Dawson Knox. Wasn't meant to be with the Dalton Kincaid pick. What do you think overall about this team, Ron?
I actually really like it. I'll be honest. When I get in these Pete Overs draft streets, I know that we're not streaming this one. When we do stream them, I get punished, man. I eat the cookie. I see the running back fall, and then it's like we're at the end of it, and me and P are scratching our head at what we just built. But this, I'm actually really excited about. Like, this is, and I do like this idea of going in with a little bit of predetermined, so that you do get weird. And I think there is something to like really thinking out a build or a strategy or whatever. And that's kind of what we did with this like 1-3-1, but then also get, or 1-1-3-1, and then also get the 4 running backs in there, and it freed up space to get weird with the onesies. And now we have this team that if we hit on the 4 running backs, we're stacked everywhere. We're built for pods. So if this team gets in, I'll be very excited.
Yeah, what's interesting to me about this team, I really think the only thing that I would probably consider, just like suboptimal from like an advance rate thing, because I think this team is very optimal if it gets to the playoffs. Like, I think this is the exact kind of team I would love to get to the playoffs with. I think you probably swap one of those tight ends or quarterbacks to a 5th running back. Like in an ideal world, Rodgers doesn't have the same bye. You do 2 and you go a 5th running back here. Boom, you're done. Or a 5th running back and just a 2nd tight end. I think that's the only tweak you would make. I think everything else accomplishes a lot of things, and it's something I do not think the field wants to do or really attempts, because it is hard to pull off.
Yeah, it's hard to pull off, and then it's also just kind of, it's not what draft rooms are doing right now, where everybody seems to be taking like 6 or 7 running backs and 0 RB builds, and it's kind of, I mean, it's like kind of a foil to what the meta is right now a little bit, in the sense that it's just like, it's not either or of like quantity or quality at running back. We're kind of just praying that we get our 4 predictions right, and then we have everything built where if we advance, this thing will be a nightmare in the pod. So I mean, my bad fortune in the pods, I'm liking this one if it was to get there.
Yeah. And the other thing too, like when you look at one of the reasons the 3 quarterback stuff gets supercharged is if you have the stacks. Like a lot of Leone's manifesto stuff just shows it's not just having the 3rd quarterback for structural reasons, it's having the 3rd quarterback stack and giving yourself the chance to have a unique stack where, say, Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers are just the nuts, right? Heading through week 15 and 16, we show up. Maybe there aren't a lot of Drake Bay teams. You know, maybe those didn't get dragged through because you needed one of Allen or Rodgers or what have you. Having that extra unique stack, I think, is just going to come in so handy. And again, I'm not going to build a lot of triple elite onesies like we did here. But just from a conceptual standpoint, I think it is the 2 things you want to accomplish in these pods: a unique stack and a really high upside option.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, I like the idea as well that, I mean, the Jets defense is good. It's going to be cold in Buffalo that week 17. Maybe those stacks are high owned. They don't work out, and then we get May to kind of save the day. Maybe Breece Hall on the ground rushing as well. Just tell myself a little story of how this team takes us to the finish line. But yeah, I'm a huge fan as well. It feels like it's not grossly weak anywhere.
No, I mean, most people point to the running backs, but it's really just the biggest hinge thing is Chase Brown. Like the way I look at this team, if Aaron Jones and Brian Robinson just kind of do what we think they're going to do, Breece Hall does what he does last year. And here's the big if. And Chase Brown is this year's Devon Achane. This thing's cooking. This thing is cooking. That's where I'm at. Ron, we were cooking in this draft. Loved getting all of your ideas and preferences. Some of them we were able to execute. Others we weren't. Let the people know where they can check out all of your great fantasy content.
Yeah, I want to say thanks for having me to talk some strategy, do some galaxy brain stuff, because I have in the past been like, man, you should never really force what you're doing in a draft, but I feel like we did it in a smart way. But yeah, you can find me Ron Stewart on YouTube. That's where all my videos are. I have redraft videos. Most of them are player takes. We do some strategy for your managed leagues, for best ball as well. And I stream every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on my channel, Ron Stewart. You can find me at Ron Stewart _ on Twitter. And I do upload like 80% of the stuff I do onto the podcast feed on Spotify. I know that Pete is a big audio listener servicer. So I've been trying to do that myself as well.
Beautiful. Let me know in the comments other guests you would like to see on this series. I've been having a lot of fun with it, trying to do the perfect draft with my guests. And I will also be having more regular strategy videos. We're going to be cooking here over the next couple months. Subscribe to the Deposit Kingdom. If you're not, you can catch the live streams on the Pete Overzet channel. All of my written work over on Fantasy Life.